So in this video I'm going to be taking a look at Shropshire Council. They've just announced a 8.99% council tax rise. So 9% council tax rise, that is a lot of money, would you not say? So let's have a little look at their finances, shall we? So plan to spend 710 million quid on services 24-25 financial year, supported by 300 million in grants, 205 million council tax, etc. But this council is spending more money than it gets in. It's out of control, like many councils. They can't actually manage to run the council at all because they're massively overstaffed, huge salaries. They're doing things that nobody asked them to do. A lot of the services that they offer or that they do are non-statutory. So they're spending money on things that they shouldn't be spending money on. Nobody voted for those things. So you can see here, there's a projected overspend of 53 million for 25-26. And in order to cover that, they're going to get a government loan for £190 million to cover them from 25 to 27. And this council is potentially going to borrow £800 million over the next 5 years because they are spending far more money than they actually get in. Now, I would say, if this was a business, that the people in charge all need to be sacked. They clearly can't run the council. They're incapable of running it. So why on earth are they still in charge? So let's have a little look, shall we, at the people in charge and what sort of salaries are being paid. So it's the usual story. You can see it here. So the chief executive this year, including pensions, is going to get £200,000 and 788 quid. 200 grand his salary, including pensions. It's incredible, isn't it? That's a 5 grand rise on last year as well. And then if you look at the other jobs on this list here, so these are the highly paid people in the council, but I'll come to how many more people are highly paid in Shropshire Council in a minute. So you can see there are 6 jobs here: executive director, and an assistant director. And you can see all of the salaries are extremely high. 200, 174, 174, 246. Incredible salaries. So just these 6 people, including their pension, cost the council taxpayer 1.1 million. Let's not forget what I've just said. This council is out of control. Their budget is out of control. They can't manage to keep on top of the amount of money they get in and how much they spend, because councils have this problem. The money's free money. They just want more free money. Your 9% council tax increase it's just a drop in the ocean. It's not going to make any difference. They're just going to keep borrowing money and they're going to keep running whatever they want to run, employing more and more people at huge salaries because they can, because nobody's there to stop them. So let's have a look here, shall we, at more jobs. So this is the table of officers. So remember, this is the employed people in the council. All of these, they're not elected. You cannot elect them. You cannot get rid of them. They've got their jobs for as long as they want to stay in them. They're not elected. The elected councillors don't get paid anything like this amount of money. And they will disappear, and these people will still be in place even though they're running the council into the ground, borrowing loads of money, overspending, but paying themselves massive wages. So officers with over 50 grand a year salaries. So you can see here what the table has got, a lot of people. And the total number is actually 430. So 430 people in the council get over 50 grand. It breaks it down into 5 grand segments. So you can see there's 95 people on 55 to 60, 58 people on 60 to 65. You know, let's go up a bit. 90 to 95, 3 people. And I should point out all of these numbers here are not anything to do with the ones above. So this table above with these 6 people, those 6 people are not in these below tables. It states it quite clearly there that this bottom table is a separate one to the ones above. £110,000 and above, 2. 105 to 110, 13 people. 100 to 105, 1. 95 to 99, 8. How are these people getting such enormous salaries when the council is basically bankrupt? If it was a business, it would be bankrupt. It would go into administration, it would shut down, and all of these people would lose their jobs because it is out of control. So if you add up the salaries of these people, what I've done is I've just said, let's call it 60 grand, which it's a lot more than that average. But if it was 60 grand, you're talking about around 26 million, not including pensions for these people. So 430 people plus those 436 people, you're talking 27 million plus pensions, plus expenses, plus everything else that they claim. That is a lot of money just for this small amount of extremely highly paid managers. These would be heads of department, managers. There are so many managers in councils. It is crazy, honestly. Councils are unbelievable. So should we have a look at the sort of things that they spend money on? So for some reason, and I don't know why, but Shropshire Council has stopped publishing the data for its card transactions. So all councils should be publishing the data for their card transactions. They actually are asked by the government, or they're suggested that they should publish everything to do with all their card transactions. But the last time Shropshire Council have put up a PDF with their card transaction spending is actually January 24 to March 24. So that's something that needs looking into, because they should be putting this up quarterly. We need to be seeing what they're spending. And the reason you need to see what they're spending is because let's have a look. So you can see as we go into this, and it's difficult to know what all of these things are for, exactly who spent it, but regardless of that, you can see a lot of this is unnecessary spending. So M6 toll, you know, do you get the M6 toll for free where you work? If you run your own business, you pay for it yourself. Even if you claim it back in tax, you don't get 10 quid back when you spend £10 or £11 on the M6 toll. You only get the 20% tax that you won't pay. So a 20% saving on your tax. You don't get 10 quid back. So Tesco, M6 toll, Tesco's again, Travelodge, Amazon, Travelodge, yeah, usual stuff. Trainline, Morrison's. Like I say, they should be publishing this all the time. 93 quid in Marks and Spencer's. Some of the things like Travelodge might be housing people for some reason, although I'd be surprised at that. So there we've got what looks like Councillor Battlefield, £7.37. Gemma's Convenience Store, 75 quid for supplies, tools, equipment and furniture. I'm not sure a convenience store sells anything like that, but anyway, let's have another look through. Got Asda, £10.50. One Stop, 20 quid. Like you see here, there's a lot of spending. I mean, Amazon, Sports Direct, 50 quid. Third party payment, interesting, 50 quid. A florist, £33 plus VAT. So who knows what that's for? Probably somebody working for the council, probably their birthday or something. They just put it on the council credit card. Who knows? Because we don't really know. A little bit of a scroll down. Keep having a look. I'm not going to go for all of these, but there you see. There we go. Burger King. Third party payment. Burger King. Yeah. So your council tax is paying for somebody's Burger King, somebody's Asda, somebody's Lidl, B&Q, Trainline, Guardian News and Media, Supplies and Services, $52.99. Who knows again what that is? Royal Mail. Lots of stuff. But yeah, interesting, like I say, that they're not publishing their card data, which they should be publishing. I don't know why. They are publishing their contract spending, which is what they should do. So if you have a look through what they're doing here, again, you can see all of the money they're spending. So Dulux Decorator Centres, they spent £449. They spent 776 quid on an automatic door company. So some of these will be reasonable expenses, but do remember that the council employ like maintenance staff themselves, and you do wonder sometimes why they're outsourcing a lot of these things when they actually have their own staff that should be doing some of these jobs, because you can see a lot of these things are, you know, electrical services and maintenance services, stuff like that, which they have in-house. So difficult to understand why they'd be spending money on these things. But you can see the amounts that are spent. I mean, who knows again what they're all for. I don't know who Graham Asset Management Limited is, but you can see huge amount of payments to them. Lots of payments. Taxes, Dell's taxes, 2,300 quid. Lots of personal redactions here. So I'm not really sure what these payments would be for, because if they were simply expenses, then it shouldn't say personal redaction, because there's a lot of big payments. It could be some sort of rebate, but that should say rebate. It shouldn't say personal redaction. So that in itself is a little bit strange. Shropshire Wildlife Trust, 4.5 grand. This is another problem with councils. So you might think, well, it's nice that they give away money to charities and community interest companies, but a lot of these charities, you know, they pay themselves quite well, some of the directors and the CEOs of these charities, and they get a lot of their money not through donations, which you might think they get, but they actually get them through your local authority. And these local authorities pay millions out to these charities, but, you know, the ones they like, but you don't have a say in that. You didn't get to vote on that. So when they're borrowing all this money and putting your council tax up, when they're giving it away to charities and community interest companies that are doing things, you know, some of these might be just doing arts and crafts or putting on theatre productions. These are not actually things that you voted for. There is no mandate for that. There is no mandate for giving away millions of pounds to these charities and companies. And quite often these companies go bust. You can actually look at things to do with these companies as well, which I'm going to do another video. Anyway, there's a trust here, look, Mayfair Trust. Again, I don't know what it is, but what's that? About 5 grand they're giving the Mayfair Trust. Badger Print and Design, 677 quid. No doubt something to do with printing things for the council, leaflets or something like that. But yeah, you can see there's a lot of spending, okay? Some of it is reasonable, some of it is not. I mean, Shire Stairlifts, Shire Stairlifts, we've got, what, here we've got 5, 7, about 10 grand of spending on Shire Stairlifts. Again, I don't know what it's for. I mean, if you have a stairlift fitted, I think it's about a couple of grand for one. So what's that, 5 stairlifts, if that's what they've done? Who knows? So I would ask anybody watching this video to start going to their local council and going through their transparency pages. I can't go through everything in this, obviously, because it would take forever, but you will find things in there that shouldn't be there. When they have their card transactions up and they do it properly, you will find things in there that shouldn't be in there. So take a look. You now know what your council tax is going on. Massive wages, huge debt, and spending on all sorts of things, as you saw there, Burger King, Amazon, and taxi companies and whatever else. So does the council need to borrow all this money? Does it need to put up council tax? Or does it actually need to start being run properly, cutting back on the things they shouldn't be spending money on? And you, the person that votes, should have a say in what they actually do. Because would you vote to increase your council tax? No. Would you vote to have this council spend 190 million quid more than it gets in the next 5 years, or actually 2 years, isn't it? 800 million extra over what it's going to get in the next 5 years. Of course you wouldn't. So why are they doing it? They're doing it because they don't care what you think. These people employed within the council couldn't care less. They don't even necessarily live within the council area. They could travel in from anywhere. Unlike people that are elected who actually have to live in the area, these people could come from anywhere. They might move from Scotland and come down and get a job hit into the Shropshire Council area, but they might live in Wales and just drive in. There is absolutely nothing for them in the council area that they care about. It's not their area, or it might be. I'm not going to say every one of them, but it doesn't have to be. They've got no ties to it. They can do what they like. They're not democratically elected, and they just spend money like it's water, because it is to them. It's just free money. Hope you enjoyed watching that video.